Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tata Steel 2023. This is the first major chess tournament of the calendar year, and whether you have been following it for the last week on my channel or you just got into it, there's a couple of storylines I'd like to catch you up on. Number one, the world champion Magnus Carlsen, arguably the GOAT, losing 2 games in this event. That might not be shocking to you. You might lose 2 games in 5 minutes of playtime, but he hasn't lost 2 games in a row in 8 years. Yeah, imagine having that as an accomplishment. So we're looking to see him come back, all right? Which may or may not happen in this video. There's another storyline, and that is Grandmaster Nadirbek Abdusaturov, which will not be on your spelling test. The 18-year-old Grandmaster from Uzbekistan, absolutely dominating. Also, there are fantastic games going on in the Challenger section. Recap is 4 games. Give me about 20 minutes of your time. You won't regret it. Put me up on your living room television or, you know, your iPhone or whatever. And let's get to it. This is going to be your hors d'oeuvre game. As always, we like to give a little appetizer. Alexander Danchenko from Germany versus Mustafa Yilmaz. These two are the titans. All right, this is the final battle scene, essentially, of the Challenger section. They are both in first place. Yilmaz has been dominating, but Danchenko has low-key been clapping, as the kids say. Queen a4 check. This is a Rogozin defense. White brings the queen back and basically argues that the knight is misplaced. Oh, my neck is stiff. b6. We have bishop here. Takes. And players begin kind of playing on from this position as white castles. All right, terrific. So black goes knight e7. This is called a reroute. The knight is going to go here or here, and black is going to look for c5. White takes space. Black, in fact, reroutes. White takes space. Black plays rook e8, very natural move. Rook now has more vision down the center line, and now black locks the queen side with the move a5. Very balanced position. So, Danchenko actually has the Middle Games Masterclass available on my site, and he knows, based on Chapter 9, that piece play is very important in chess. And sometimes your pieces can't go forward, so bringing them backward is the right thing to do, just like we saw that night, right? So now black takes this opportunity to come to the 7. Now we have bishop e1 just getting out of the way and routing over here. Now you see Yilmaz. Yilmaz is, as the kids say, feeling himself. Not physically. He's not sitting there like rubbing him. That's weird. You probably wouldn't be able to do that. But he's feeling himself. He's going for a big attack. All right. He plays the move h5, and then he takes and he brings his queen. And he's been kind of obliterating everybody that he's played in this event. So naturally, he's taking that confidence into his next games. Here's the problem. Danchenko also has been obliterating everybody, right? So what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? Well, right now, it really looks like Yilmaz is putting in that work. He's got the 2 bishops. He's ready to go with h4. In this position, we have knight h2 stepping out of the way. Bishop comes back. And now, a very smart move by Danchenko, who basically calls the bluff on the entire black position. And he goes, yes, you absolutely have 2 bishops staring over here and the knight, and you know, if white just, let's say, just one move allows black to go h4, it very well could be over. But the thing about high-level chess is that it hangs on a knife's edge. The whole game can be decided by one move. At your level, when the game is decided by one move, it's because you hung mate in 1 or your opponent hung a queen. At this level, the game is decided by one move because you offer a bishop exchange right before the other guy jumps across the table and punches you straight in the mouth, which I'm not sure has ever happened at a chess game, during a chess tournament, at least an elite one. I'm sure it's happened at like your local tournament in Ohio or something. So bishop a3. And the point is that if you take, I go here, your pawn is under attack. If you try to defend your pawn, suddenly I got a cannon just pointed that direction. Let me tell you, this attack looks a whole lot worse when I start stripping away your attackers. And I start stripping away and now you got nothing. Now you're just gonna lose this pawn, and that one too. And that's it. So bishop a3 is such a sophisticated move, and Yilmaz continues to try to attack. But take, and just g4. Just g4. Now the light squared bishop of black can't do anything. The knight can't do anything. Yilmaz tries to come, bring the knight back around, but take. And Danchenko's like, bro, let's just trade rooks. Let's just make some trades, because when my queen gets in here, you best believe I'm going to get everybody. g5, take. And now just very simple idea here by Danchenko. Super nice idea, by the way. Very, very nice idea. I like to say when impossible moves are possible, the game is probably over. f4. Game is over. Now, it actually took me a minute to even realize what's so good about the move f4. It's an incredibly genius move. The point of f4 is that you would like to just suffocate the black pieces. If black takes, it's not that you take back, because then you lose a pawn, and then a second pawn, and probably all the pawns. The idea of f4 is that after black takes on f4, white plays a move like, I mean, it's so hard to figure out the move here for white. White's best move is queen f2, replacing the pawn and simply pinning the pawn to the queen and taking back. Look at black's pawn structure. Isolated, doubled and isolated, frozen. This is horrible. So black can't do that, but now this, and now queen c7, and the queen just hangs out. Queen's got eyes on everybody, all right? Kind of like my grandma and every member of the family that she texts every day. f6, bishop c2, black has no moves. Have you ever seen a position like this? Like, black literally cannot move any pawn. Okay, he can move the h-pawn and lose it in one move. Black's pawns have no mobility. When you have no mobility in a position, you perish. Knight f3, and it's all gonna come down to one final breakthrough, and it arrives very swiftly with e5. A beautiful game from Danchenko, and Yilmaz just resigned. He just resigned! He resigned in this position. That was it. That was it. What a beautiful game. Danchenko now leads the challengers section. Now, we are beginning the main course. Arjun Erigaisi of India, Nodirbek Abdusatorov from Uzbekistan, e4. Nodirbek in first place beat Magnus, plays a Petrov defense. Arjun takes him a little bbit out of theory. Knight d2, very peculiar line. Both guys develop, and both guys castle. Okay, so black has a little bit more equity in the center. White has pretty active pieces. We have h3. Nodirbek's like, I don't want to trade. And now bishop f5. That is a mysterious move. But the idea is to occupy space, and it's actually very difficult to kick out the bishop. If you play a move like bishop to g6, I will happily exchange. Then I will play queen b3, and then on rook d1, and so on. So bishop f5 is an interesting move. King h8. And now we have queen e2, queen b6, and bishop f4. Further supporting the pawn and defending the pawn on b2. We have this, and now Nodirbek's like d4. I have a passed pawn. You see, if you take my pawn on d4, then I will take with my knight and hit everything. Well, I don't know why I highlighted the rook. I will hit everything. I just got excited. I really, just highlight everything. I will hit all three pieces. But if you just don't take me, which is what happens in the game, I just have a passed pawn. Like, let's say you do this, which is exactly what he did. Now, if cd4, I don't have to take with my knight. I can, but I'm just going to have a passed pawn. It's just going to stand around waiting to move. So we have queen c2 now, played by Erigaisi, and rook d8. A very tense position. Nodirbek is building around that d pawn. Erigaisi here just goes for it. h4, pushing the pawns in front of his king. All right, now Nodirbek knows a thing or two about getting attacked. We just saw the world champion Magnus Carlsen sacrifice material against them, so he's gonna try to play defense, all right? Queen a6. While you are getting attacked, you respond by counterattacking on the opposite side of the board. He's basically like, yo, come and get me. Take, queen b3. He's like, d3? Look at this move. He just doesn't care. The d-pawn is like a fishbone. Everything in white's position is stopped coordinating. You can't take it because it's defended through the bishop and like this. And if you try to direct all of your attention toward it, I mean, black might take. Black would just keep going. See, what I don't understand. Rook d2, knight d2, pawns. Yeah, but knight is coming in. Bishop is coming in. Like, the distraction of the pawn is a huge problem. Erigaisi continues to go forward. We have take, but now knight d4. Nodirbek is going down the middle. Folks, when you want to start an attack on somebody in chess, on a flank, the center needs to be closed. Why? Because if the center is open, this is a picture-perfect example of what happens. When the center is open and you are not able to shut it down, the opponent can transfer pieces through the center of the board. Just the move knight d4 opens the entire vision of the queen. So now the queen can actually play defense from the opposite side of the board. That's the thing about chess. You probably never thought about that. All right? One piece move affects everything. Knight d4 guarantees an exchange, and Nodirbek just keeps going, bro. He just keeps going. And you know where his queen goes on the very next move? Over there! Queen a to h6. That is why the center needs to stay closed. And now Nodirbek arrives and attacks the pawn. He's like, what's up? You were talking a little crazy, all right? You were talking a little crazy over here, Arjun. You really want to talk that ish to me? Queen h6, I'm gonna go take your pawns. Queen b7, I don't care about those. Bishop g5, hits the rook. All right, rook c3, that d pawn's not going anywhere. Queen here, queen here, queen here. Uh-oh, uh-oh, who's attacking who? The queen had a private jet ticket to get over here because the center was open. Very instructive stuff. Now we have bishop h2, check here, and just h6. h6 is a useful move, defends the bishop, king is safe on the back rank, and black does not trade queens because he's attacking. Black trades bishops to open up the position. Here comes black's other rook. And it was Eric Geisy throughout this game that seemed like he was attacking, but in this position, Nodirbek Abdusattorov played a beautiful move. He did not sacrifice the rook. He kind of sacrificed the rook. He went rook e4. It's not really a sacrifice because queen takes d1, but it's good enough. And the point is that the rook just confidently stands there, threatens rook e1 in the future. We have takes, rook f4, and all the pawns fell. Check, queen infiltrated, check with the rook, and now the final dagger, take, rook takes f3. Point is that you can choose one of two deaths. Rook f3, d1 queen, rook d1, ladder mate in the middle of the game. Kind of the end game, but you get what I'm saying. Nodirbek is on +4. He has 5.5 points out of 7. He has 4 wins and 3 draws. He is now the 15th highest rated chess player on the planet, and he's 18. Yo, this dude is for real, man. This dude, he just beaten everybody. He beaten him with white, black, blue, green. Give him any color. I mean, this is absurd. I mean, at this point, the players should be able to consult mittens once every 10 moves to play against him. Ridiculous. He just won't stop. Now, this game. Oh, this was fun. I haven't covered these players. Allow me to introduce them to you. Vaishali Ramesh Babu is Pragnananda's sister. Like, Prag is playing in the master section. She's his sister. I think she's older, maybe by a year or two. She's an IM. I think she has some GM norms. And she was having a rough start to the tournament, but she's picked it up. Last round, she beat Jurgis, who's 26-40, which is amazing. Her opponent, some of you might know him because I lose to him all the time, and he's played Hikaru. His name is Luis Paulo Supi, but you know how to read. He's from Brazil. This is, I think, his first ever elite tournament. And he's drawn actually I think every game he's played until this round, but he's had some very interesting games. He's a very aggressive player, and what more aggressive opening can you get than a Najdorf? So someone's gonna lose. Bishop g5. G4, b5. All right, this is like crazy stuff. Bishop's coming out. All right, drops back, attacks. Supi sacrifices his rook. This is like a very typical Sicilian sacrifice. Rook takes knight. Black also gets a pawn. And look at the knights coming out. Knight e4, knight e5, queen slides over, queen a8. Look at this galaxy beam of a queen in the corner supporting the knight in the center. White castles, knight takes c3. Let's just breathe here. All right, it's knight and 2 pawns for black and an extra rook for white, okay? Now, the pawns are scattered. Position like this can end like in a moment's notice. I really mean that. I mean, this is literally checkmate in 1, okay? The knight just has to stop defending that square. Like, it is so sharp here. Vaishali plays rook e1. Computer didn't love it. It thought the other rook should have gone there. But okay, rook e1. Supi plays g6. That stops what white wants. Also bishop g7 and castle. Wouldn't it be lovely if, like, white did nothing and black went here and then castled? Like, that would be great. Or, by the way, even, the king might even be safe on d7 in some positions, but probably castles. Now Vaishali plays f4. This is not a fork, by the way. You would just take. Knight c4. Vaishali ignores it. f5. I mean, black's king, make no mistake, is wide open. Whose king is weaker? Well, if you didn't see this, you might argue black's king is weaker. Why? Because what is he doing in the center? Like, at least this king is over here. The knights can't get close. They'll get taken. You know, like, it's all about whether or not the pieces can get to you. Now, Supi had to be brave here and take. Very tough move to play. Top engine line here is take, rook g8, sacrifice this pawn, and then just play rook g6 and just vibe, as the kids say. You know, this looks crazy on God. So, you know, queen e4 instead. He tries to trade the queens. But Bro really thought he was Magnus for real. Skull emoji. Sorry, that's for my, 14 and under audience. Queen e4 is just trying to trade the queens off, get an endgame, and say, you can't attack me with no queens. Problem is, Vaishali's not going to do this. She's going to keep the queens on. Queen h3. He takes the bishop. You got to go here. He gets the queens off and brings the knight back and says, all right, it's time to start this phase of the game where clearly I'm the favorite. I mean, a GM is probably the favorite in the endgame, right? I don't know. It's what he's thinking. Bishop g7 and king d7 and so on. Vaishali doesn't... She plays rook f1 and rook c3. She keeps firing away. King d7, pawn takes, and now a very nice Zwischenzug, bishop g7. Ignoring all this, hits the knight first, okay? So when the knight moves, now you're going to take, and that's exactly what happened. We have take, take. And here, we have rook f7, king slides back to e8, and a repetition of moves is threatened by white, being the lower rated player, and being in a very tense position that's very unclear in the long run. She decides to repeat the moves. Well, Supi says no, plays h6. Take, activates his bishop, but in doing that, takes his eye off the knight, which sneaks into the position. Now, he could go here, but then it's going to be check and so on. It's a little bit tricky, and I'm sure they're low on time here, so it's a massive risk for Supi to do this. Bishop g5. Rook e2 targets the pawn in front of the king. We have a check. King slides back to c8. Rook g3 attacks the bishop. Black can fork, but then there's a trick. And rook g3, and Supi had to play bishop f6, because in the game he played bishop h4, but Vaishali was like, my knight is hanging, my rook is hanging, but danger levels. I threaten the bishop. If you take, I threaten this, and I get this. And with the passed h-pawn, I'm probably going to win. And knight takes g6, and Supi just resigned. He just resigned. I don't think he lost on time here. The game's over. I think he resigned the game. He didn't have to resign. They could have went to this position, but it's a relatively easy win, I think. I think literally white just goes h4. But he didn't have to resign. I mean, he could have maybe played on. But he just didn't, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, he literally declined to draw like 5 moves ago, and he blunders knight g6, and I did not show this game, by the way, because I always lose to Supi and he lost. This was a huge win for Vaishali. Vaishali just beat 2 2600 Grandmasters in a row. So, I mean, very impressive stuff from her. And that takes me to my main event of the evening. Magnus Carlsen's having a tough event, and we're looking to see him bounce back. And let me tell you something. If you need to win a game of chess, and you need an opponent that's not going to kill the game, like, if Magnus was playing like Fabiano here, Fabi will just be solid, okay? Rapport is the kind of guy who's gonna go to the party with you. Like, for instance, Rapport is the kind of guy who, let's say he had too much to drink 2 nights, and I don't even know if he drinks or not. Let's just, he's a party guy. Let's say he wakes up after the second party. He's like, yo, I'm not partying tonight. I'm not doing it. We're not doing this again. I'm not partying. You'll convince him by the end of the evening. Like, he's a fun guy. So Magnus in this game must have been shocked when Rapport showed up with a Petrov, okay? A Petrov defense is like how you kill a game. I was also shocked. I was like, whoa, Rapport's not letting him have fun. He probably knows Magnus is going to take a risk. So, okay, Magnus plays a very weird line. So we have knight e4, queen e2, queen e7. And this is some weird line where as early as like move 7, the queens can get traded. But Rapport is not the kind of guy to play queen e2. Not to mention the fact that queen e2 is probably not even a great move. There's probably better moves here. But the point is that like black can just be ultra solid. The queens can have a staring contest and, So Rapport plays bishop f5. And then Rapport plays h5. Okay, the queens are just having a staring contest. Nobody wants to budge. The point of h5 is to prevent this. And Magnus gets equally wild here as Rapport plays knight a6 looking to sneak in. As a human, I go a3 here. I don't even think twice about it. I don't want to allow knight b4. But then the knight is going to rotate. So Magnus in this position, I tweeted this position. Magnus plays a completely unprovoked king move king f2. I mean, king f2 is like, what a, you know, like, you can't, if I showed this position to you, you would think, okay, 2/600s probably. I mean, I don't know. The guy thought he was castling with white, but he moved his king instead. King f2. And on the very next move, Report plays knight to b4, and Magnus undeveloped. Right. When he does it, he's a genius, sophisticated, GOAT, world champion, risk taker, all right, cake baker, all right, trip taker, and so on. You're just stupid. Like, if you play king f2 and queen d1, you're just an idiot. That's fine. We all have to find out at some point. You know what I mean? Queen d1 and Report long castles, and Magnus is like, I think your position's actually pretty bad. Like, the pawn on f3 covers this, and I'm just gonna go knight d3, and, you know, we're gonna have to trade some pieces, like knight d3, bishop d3, queen d3, then I'm gonna go rook e1, and bishop g5, and rook d1, and b4, and a4, and b5, a5. Like, you committed your king to a side of the board where I actually can get to. Black can't really get over here. It's not that easy. So Magnus goes here. Report plays d5 now, which is already a slight inaccuracy, because what do you do if you want to attack somebody? Let's say white wants to attack in the future. Does white want to take or close? We just had this. Have you been paying attention? No, of course not. No, you just watch my videos because you think I'm funny. I don't actually watch the recaps to learn anything. I'm disappointed in you. Whatever happened to those New Year's resolutions? Jeez, every single time. Get it together, c5. Lock the door, so that now, when that massive exchange happens like this, I'm gonna go b4, b5, like my attack, like I'm getting there. The attack is there. And Report realizes that. Report's like, wait a minute, if bishop d, I mean, I probably shouldn't do this. Report sacrifices a knight. Knight, what? I told you, if you want a party, Report's your guy. If Magnus wants a game that's gonna be a game, where he has an opportunity to be brilliant and get a win and not just have a dead game, Report will have some fun with you. Take, bishop e2, queen f6, setting up various attacks. And watch what Magnus does here. You want to discover to attack my queen? A lot of us would move our king or react. Bishop e3. He's like, so do it. Dude, it's like those movie scenes. They got the gun, you press into it. You're like, do it. What are you going to do? Check me. Bishop c5. If you take, you lose your queen, right? Magnus just played rook f1. This is the most alpha, sigma, omega, gamma, epsilon king I have ever seen in my life. Black threatens a discover check. He says, declare your intentions. And the king ignores the threat. And the king ignores the threat again and basically says, I am going to walk out of this room. There is nothing you can do to stop me. And he does. The king manually gets to his castling position by moving up, sliding the rook over, and walking behind the rook. And the king is safe. Not only is the king safe, the bishop is hanging. The bishop is hanging. Queen a4 is on the way. Magnus takes. King slides over. King is safe. Magnus up 2 pieces. King is safe. Rook takes f7. He's not even afraid of rook f8. He's not even afraid. Just bishop c4. You target me here, king f2. I'm doing a little dance, Ba, 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 ba. You take, ba. Defended. Defend, just everything. You got nothing. Bishop g1, rook g1. Give me a check, I'm sliding over. Give me a check, I'm sliding over. Give me a check, I'm sliding over. Take my bishop. I still got a knight. Richard. Let's trade the queens. Bang, bang. Let's trade the rooks. Black resigns. Magnus Carlsen. Surprise, surprise. The king is back. Now get out of here.